brilliant. It's a hero maximum. On the ground, down the ground, another hero maximum.
Righto, welcome back to the Maximum Cricket Podcast. This is the Patreon Power Play, episode number 6. The Ashes is over. We have no Test cricket for about 4 months as World Cricket shifts into World Cup mode with a gluttony of white ball cricket to come. Since the World Cup is just a couple of months away, fellas, we thought now it would be a great time to revisit a classic match in World Cup history. We gave our Instagram followers the choice of these 3 classic matches involving our Black Caps, of course. New Zealand versus Australia 2015 group stage game at Eden Park where New Zealand won by 1 wicket. New Zealand versus South Africa 2015 semi-final at Eden Park. New Zealand won by 4 wickets with 2 balls to spare. And the World Cup final 2019 where England and New Zealand tied after a super over. And unfortunately for us staunch Kiwi fans who would have loved to relive 2 absolute classic wins for our Caps, the public have spoken and they wanted us to relive one of our worst memories as a fan, and that was the 2019 World Cup final. Before we dive in, fellas, your initial emotions when it was decided we had to rewatch this game.
Yeah, when you put the poll up, I sort of, 1 + 1 = 2. We're probably going to be re-looking at this game. So sort of expecting it. Everyone loves to watch a car crash. So making us relive probably New Zealand cricket's worst day was always going to happen. So, yeah, there was that sort of pre-dread. And then when it got confirmed, just again, like, oh, shit, I can't believe I'm going to have to sort of relive this. It was, buried deep away. So bit of work to dig it back up, that's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, as we talked about a bit before we got on, just sort of 2 out of our 3 favourite games ever there. So 2 beautiful options from the punters, and they've given us option 3 and not our best one. Like I have to say, I don't know if it's been long enough just yet, but I did have a bit of fun rewatching it. It's an amazing game. It's unreal, and there was times I was watching it before, and I was pretty sure we were going to get up. So you almost get broken again. It's quite incredible. So yeah, it was a tough one once again, but it's a hell of a game of cricket.
Yeah, it was. I was saying to you boys off air that trying to rewatch and sort of rehash a summary and dig deeper into the stats and ball by ball stuff, you start to dig up some old emotions that you thought you buried a long time ago. I thought I was over it. I really did. I thought the Test Championship, I thought enough time had passed. But then once you watch it over again, you just think, fuck me, this is bullshit. But we are here and we are going to relive one of our worst days in front of the internet. So that's great. So before we dig in, lads, I want to start with a wee game just to sort of lighten the mood before we get a little bit more serious. So we're going to run a wee top 10 of this World Cup final. This week, you guys are going to get 3 lives since that worked quite well last week. So basically, anytime you get an answer wrong, you lose a life. So the top 10 is, who are the top 10 individual scores from the 2019 World Cup final? So that is one player getting X amount of runs and then the 10 highest scores of the World Cup. So you just throw out some names and then see how you go.
The entire World Cup or the final game?
Just the final game. Okay. Just that final game. So just think about who's made the runs. 10 deep is a lot deeper than you think. I will say that. So are you ready or you got any more questions?
No, I think we're ready.
Okay. Right, and 3, 2, 1, let's go.
I think Toey's on there, Henry Nicholls.
Yeah, he's your 3.
Guptill got Nicholls, a few as well, I remember.
Guptill got 19. That's your 7.
Yeah.
7.
Kane got 30.
Kane got 30, so he's at your 6.
Bairstow would have got
Stokes,
a couple.
obviously.
Stokes is
Yeah,
year
yeah.
one. He got 84.
Yeah.
Bairstow, he's fifth
Butler,
with 36
obviously.
off 55.
Butler with him.
Butler 59 off
Butler
60
was
at
with
year
Stokes.
2.
Neesham got 20 odd, so if Guptill's up there, he must be.
Neesham got 19 off 25. He's a
That'll
7
do.
equal.
Yeah, that's 20 odd,
7
as we all know.
Right, how many have we got?
So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You got 7 out of 10.
And we've got the top 7.
Yeah. So you need no, you don't have your top 7. You're missing the 4th highest and the bottom 2.
We said, we got Latham, didn't we? Have we mentioned that?
You didn't, but he is your 4th. He got 47
Latham.
off 50,
Sorry,
56. So
Tom.
Yeah.
that's not bad. Two more. You got 3
And
lives.
Guptill.
Guptill's been said.
Yeah.
Totally
I was thinking
got
Guptill was 19. So
Did how many Plunkett get? Like 17 there?
yeah, 10 off 10 Plunkett.
10. Bastard.
So Plunkett didn't make the list.
Yeah.
So that's your first miss. But you're starting to get it. You're starting to zero in there. Start to think of names.
Oh, Wokes, did he get a few?
He did not. No, I actually don't know. He got like 2, I think. So that is a miss. So you're on your last life here, 2 to get.
Fuck.
What did Wokes get? Wokes got 2.
Not great.
Did Morgan get any? But I've watched this highlights twice in the last 2 days.
Yeah,
These names should be
must have got
spring.
some.
Is that your final guess?
No,
I don't know if he did.
Maybe it sounds like
It's
a tail.
definitely there's some tail. Yeah. Who's our
Joffre, was he batting all right?
Is that your final guess?
Oh, no.
You look like you're throwing out guesses, hoping me to say.
No, we can't throw Outry out there because Butler and Stokes did most of the work there. It must be a key. Did Matt Henry get a couple?
Is that a guess, or you guys are just throwing out names without?
No, I'll
take
take Henry.
You can take Henry. Okay. Henry made 4, so he missed on the list. You missed Jason Roy, 17 off 20, and Colin de Grandhomme made 16 off 28 balls.
Oh,
I was going to go Roy, but I still think he was out first ball, so I don't count those runs. That was out. That's out.
Which one was that? His first ball. I missed that on the highlights. What happened there?
Oh, first ball. Trent has him plumb. It's half a wicket, so umpire's cool given not out.
Oh,
but it's
I think I know. It just looks out. Yeah.
Oh, it's out. Smithy was fired up from ball 1.
Right. Well, should I try and summarize this match, and then we'll talk about the match for a bit, and then we'll get into some categories. So bear with me. I'm doing my best. If I weep a little bit at any point, you know why. So the day was July 14th, 2019, at the home of cricket, Lords. New Zealand won the toss. They batted first. Got off to a good start. They lost Guptill for a brisk 19 off 18. Guptill, who made the most runs at the 2015 World Cup, had an all-time stinker at this tournament, averaging just 20. Williamson and Nichols got through to a good run out. Good run out.
Good run out.
Good run out.
Williamson and Nichols got through to 103 for 1 when current USA international Liam Plunkett, he dismissed Kane for 30 and then managed to get Nichols to chop on 55. It wasn't the easiest wickets to bat on, but this is when the brakes started to be put on for New Zealand. They lost wickets at irregular intervals. Taylor made 15, Neesham 16, and de Grandhomme struggled to land a bat on anything. He made 16 off 28. Only Tommy Latham looked fluent as he made 47 off 56 to get New Zealand to something which was 241 for 8 off 50. Interestingly enough, this was more than they defended against India. England started briskly, although Jason Roy plumb first nut, according to our Lugsy. Matt Henry did nick off Roy for 17, and then New Zealand suffocated the life out of England. Joe Root 7 off 30 Big Colin nicked him off. He took 1 for 26 off 10. The dangerous Bairstow chopped on for 36 off Ferguson, and then Big Lockie took an absolute screamer at deep point to dismiss Morgan for 9 off 22. Never easy diving forward, that's for sure. That left England at 86 for 4 off 23 overs, a run rate of almost 6 now. A match-winning partnership followed between Joss Buttler and Ben Stokes. The current Test and white ball captains of England put on 110 in 21 overs. Ben Stokes was man of the match, but Joss Buttler's innings cannot be understated. 59 off just 60 balls. When everyone else struggled to score quickly, Buttler was just on a different wicket. Once Buttler was dismissed, that's when things get really interesting. Ferguson tightened the screws. In the space of his 2 overs, the run rate goes from 9 and over to 11 and over. After he dismisses Wokes for 2, 34 off 18, 10 off the next bolt over, 24 off 12 now. Neesham cleans up Plunkett, 22 off 9, and then it changes. Bear with me. Neesham, slower ball. Stokes gets some of it, not all of it. Trent Bolt under it, peddling back. For me, at the time, visions of the group game against West Indies where Bolt took that final catch to deny Braithwaite, a famous come from behind win. So I'm thinking, this is safe as houses. Unfortunately, Bolt forgets his footing, lands on the rope, flicks it up, but it's not in time. 6 runs to England, 16 off 8. Neesham, to his credit, next ball, 1 off. Then he cleans up Archer for his first ball to leave England, needing 15 off the last over with only 2 wickets in hand. Trent Bolt to bowl it not very long after stuffing up one of the most important catches in New Zealand history when you look back at it. 2 Yorkerist deliveries, 2 dot balls. Stokes not wanting to run. He wants to do it all himself. 15 off 4. Stokes gets under the next ball, over mid-wicket for 6. 9 off 3. Next ball, full toss on middle stump. Stokes pushes the ball to the leg side. He sets off for 2. Guptill fires it at Stokes' end. Stokes dives to make his ground, and the ball deflects off his bat for boundary for 2. Plus the 2 runs, probably the most famous 6 in the history of cricket right there. 3 off 2 now. Bolt hits a Yorker, England set off for 2. Santner throws it to Bolt, and Rashid has run out without facing a ball. 2 off 1.
Great
Last
work
ball,
from
probably. Yeah, lovely. Yeah, we caught it on the half volley, I believe, which was nice. Last ball, probably his worst ball. Shin high, full toss on leg stump, but Stokes is only thinking 2 to win. He bunts that ball to the leg side. Again, New Zealand clinical in the field. Neesham gets that ball to Bolt, and he runs out Mark Wood. Scores tied, super over. Stokes and Buttler, they managed to get 15 off the super over, bowled by Bolt, which is interesting because he bowled 10 overs for 67. Archer to bowl England's over in his 14th one-day international versus Neesham and Guptill. All New Zealanders start the chase. A wide, followed by a 2, then a huge 6 from Neesham. 7 off 4 now. Next ball's hit to Jason Roy, who fumbles, and New Zealand get back for 2. Next ball, another 2. New Zealand now need 3 off 2, 1 hit away. Archer saves his best 2 balls for last. Slow ball bouncer, Neesham through the shot, misses it completely. Guptill sneaks through for a bye, 2 off 1. Last ball, Archer bowls a good Yorker. Guptill can only squeeze it to mid-wicket, and they scamper for 2. The fielder is Jason Roy, who I just said fumbled the last attempt. A lot more pressure this time. He picks it up cleanly, huge throw under pressure, throws it to Buttler, who runs out Guptill, scores tied yet again. Now, instead of going around again, there is some stupid rule that the winner is decided through boundary count, which England won 26 to 17. Therefore, by the barest of margins, they became world champions. Boys, even now, 4 years later, that rule is fucking ridiculous. Boundary counts,
yeah.
like I can't even sort of get my head around it. Yours, please.
Yeah, I see. First of all, as Crom said, there's so many times where I thought we'd won that. Like, as you talked me through that super over, I thought, okay, we just bang, we've won this. Yeah, we didn't. 3 off 2, didn't get it done. I was like, oh, hold on, did we actually win this World Cup? But no. And then, that rule at the time when it came in, like, is the stupidest thing that's ever happened in cricket. Like, mancads and underarm delivs and stumpings at the end of the overs. Like, you can throw them all out the book. Deciding that boundaries, like how you score your runs, is more important than like scoring them, or like wickets in hand, or like there's just that's going to be the bottom of the list of how you should separate two cricket teams. Like why not make it who scored more singles, because rotating the strikes just as important. Like what a fuck around that made it into the World Cup.
Lazy.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, it's imagine losing a World Cup final on penalties, but then timesing that by like 10. It's just it's just
and
that
you scored the same
heartbreaking.
amount of penalties.
Yeah, so we just but one guy took it
But
with
they
his
get
foot or something. Like,
but they get a few more top corner ones.
Shots on target.
Yeah, just
one more shots on target.
Just an outrageous. I mean, look, we've given England a bit of shit for whining and Aussie that for whining over the Ashes, but I think we're quite entitled to have a moan about this one. I mean, that is a disgraceful rule.
I mean,
a rule's bad when they change it.
Yeah,
like that
told
year.
Yeah. Like it obviously got told at the start of the tournament, like we've changed it. This is what's going to happen if a Super Over still a tie, and everyone's gone like, oh yeah, like I suppose like when is that ever going to happen? And then on the bigger stage, it does.
You know that meme of around the board. You know that meme around like when you got these employees around the boardroom, and then that one guy gets sort of thrown out. Like I'm just envisioning the ICC making these rules, and someone's like, oh no, if they score more boundaries, they win, right? And then everyone's like, yeah, and this one guy's like, that's just ridiculous. Like, can't they just like play another over? And he gets thrown out the building.
What about a second Super Over? Out the door. Get it up on the socials, actually.
But it's
just
like
brought that up for us.
Yeah, it's like we'll get Pucky Boy on that one. Actually, he's pretty good on the old memes. But it's like you said, Jacko. Like you keep there's so many moments. There's so many moments where we think we've won it. Even in that Super Over, I remember when Neesham hit that first six. I thought, there's nothing they can throw at us, and we're going to find a way. And then even that last ball, I was thinking Guptill on strike. I was like, well, this is written in the stars, isn't it? He's had an absolute shit tip of a tournament, and we've thrown him out there. Which, looking back, not sure why we threw Guptill out there, considering his form.
I think it's his quickest between the wickets. Do you think that's
probably
Neesham's gonna bang it? Who can get back like quickest?
Yeah,
it has to factor into
that had to be it. They can't have thought, here's the hot hand.
Imagine sending Ross and Kane out and they just run each other out, ball 1 and 2. Don't know how that would work, but that'd be impressive.
What about Munster? Like for those that don't know, which is probably everyone, we watched the game together, just an absolute all-nighter. What about just the range of emotions through that night? What about you just guys are getting tired, they're dropping off, hitting bed. We're staying up. We've stayed through it all. It's just up and down, like riding the wave. What a time! That's why I was like, oh, this could be a bit of fun to revisit, because it was like it's such a great memory of like the night, but then it's tragic. It ends at heartbreak.
Well, I think we talked about
sleep numbers in the night.
We both sleep a wink.
0.
Oh, I didn't sleep a wink.
0,
I think I remember I drove home. I drove home about the time that I called in for sick that day. Called in sick that day, so about 7, whatever it was, and that was a long drive.
We'll go to
yourself a bath and go to sort of thing.
We're sort of going to do some unanswerable questions potentially, but the biggest one I had was just cutting to that now. Me and Munter were sort of talking like, what's our plan here? This is with like an over to go. Like, what's our plan here? Do we get a couple hours sleep, then hit the bar, or do we just go straight to the bar 7:30?
Straight to the bar.
What's our move here? So
we were talking tattoos. We were talking tattoos. Like I was legit. That would have been my first tattoo.
The question here is how big of the bender would it have been? I mean, scary to think about. And still heartbreaking. Well,
there's a few of them. We'll do it now. We'll do unanswerable questions now. Would we have gone through with the tattoo? Do you think I would have? Do you think I would have gone through with it?
It's a question for you. I'd like to say yes. We would have had to. Yeah, we would have had to strike while the iron's hot. I think I was actually a virgin skin back then, just quietly. So that would have been my first as well, I think. Yeah. But yeah, with those sort of things, like you've got to strike while it's hot. Like that day, few beers at max, go find the next open tattooist and you get away something, and then you're all go.
Yeah. I guess there's a couple of unanswerable questions here. Oh, no, man, we'll come back. We'll swing around. We'll swing back to it. We'll swing back to it. Right, let's move on to some categories, and we'll dive in as we get to. Right, let's start with the Hairy Javelin Award for the defining picture of the match, and I think there is a lot. So here are my nominees: Stokes with his hands up after the overthrows, just England lifting the World Cup. The image of Butler sort of smashing the stumps to win there. New Zealand and England players consoling a distraught Guptill on the ground. And there's another one where just Williamson walking past the World Cup trophy, like distraught. Yeah, what about you? What were you thinking, boys?
Yeah, I don't know if you'd call it a pick, but the videos of Kane just sort of standing there collecting himself before having to go up and speak. I remember that just hitting so hard. Like him just, standing away from the team, just sort of trying to like steel himself into like, not complaining about the ruling and the results and stuff. So yeah, that was a lasting memory for me. But yeah, whenever I think it, all I can think about is Butler running out Guptill and him being fucking ages away from being safe. Like they won that World Cup by a stupid rule, but by a fair way. Like that run out wasn't even close. So that sort of is the final nail in the coffin and the photo I remember the most probably.
Yeah, it's funny what you do remember. For me, honestly, the clear one that I always think about is Stokes hands up. That is just burnt into my memory, like because it just signified everything. If they hadn't have won, I don't think it would have taken on the life it did. But that photo for me with it just, I don't know, it's almost when you look back, you're like, how could that have happened? How could that possibly that moment have happened? Him just on the deck, hands up, that's just burnt in my head.
Yeah, that's the emotion for me, because I just remember being so mad about that for so long. Like it just bothered me because you would never take a run. Like if it hits you and it goes for one, you would never run. So why do you get a boundary? Like it's just why is this rule even in place? It's just like it just bothered me for so long. So that one set into my brain.
Even that like 5 seconds was like 40 emotions of like when it was like, okay, it's only a 2. This is an unbelievable result. Oh, is there a chance of a run out? No, there's no run out, but that's sweet. It's only a 2. Oh, it's hit his bat. They're going to get an overthrow. Oh no, they won't actually run because they're doing the decent thing. Yeah. Holy shit! If this actually goes, we can't do anything, and it's gone for 4.
There'll be someone down there. That was my thought. Was just there's someone down there. Like how is there not someone down there just to pick it up or and just watching that like track and go over the boundary was fucking that'd be one of the worst, like most dread I've ever felt watching cricket, I reckon.
I was still thinking like that it was his option. Like I was still thinking like, he doesn't have to take those runs, right. Like he can just turn them down. And then I was like, hang on, what's going on here?
Hang on, they've got 4 freebies.
How did that ball go to the boundary so fast yet so slow? Like it just, I knew it was going to get there, but it just trickled away in front of my eyes.
Right. Okay. Speaking of that, that's one of our nominations for our Glenn McGrath 2005 rolling ankle on a ball award for turning point off the game. There's really only 2, but I'm going to check out another one just for an option. Plunkett dismissing Williamson and Nichols after when we're 103 for 1. I just feel like it's a big moment. That sort of changed the ceiling for that total. But really, it's Ben Stokes that overthrows and Bolt's catch or non-catch on the ropes. I think what I said before, what did I say it was? 22 off 9 when that goes up. I've thought about it over and over, like the Ben Stokes 6. If that's just 2, I mean, we probably still win. We probably win, but there's still a chance that Stokes wins it because he's still there.
Well, he's still there.
If it's 22 off 9, and that's a catch. It's 22
It's
off
9
8.
down.
Stokes is out. Like, that's it. That is
That's it.
actually the game. Like, that's
it.
a tough one. That's a
Oh,
I just
Yeah.
had personally I just had the Stokes Butler coming together, sort of turned the whole game, didn't it?
yeah. That's a good nomination. Yeah, I like that.
yeah.
I
mean,
actually did have
if that,
this is a small one, but I did have Roy was the LBW first ball. That is in my notes.
He was out five overs later, but okay.
yeah.
That's
What if England didn't rush Jofra Archer's citizenship through?
That's an unanswerable question right there. That's what if West Indies held on to him? I've got I had another one. What if the turning point? Trent Bolt bowling the super over.
Yeah.
It's an interesting. I still I know he wasn't the best on that. It's hard to not go on though, isn't it? It would be a massive call to not bowl him.
Yeah. I mean, it was either him or Ferguson, really.
Yeah.
Ferguson he was a hot talent at that point. Like he was very good. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Let's move on to the Bradman Award for the best stat of the game. First of all, the umpire got it wrong with the overthrows. It should have been 5 runs according to the law. They can't count the second run because the batters had not crossed at the time of Gutdal releasing the ball. So we would have won a game. But the other stat,
It's unbelievable.
yeah. But it's a catch-22 because you look at that last ball with Stokes and it was a shin high leg stump. If they needed 3 to win, he's not bunting it. He's just going to probably park that into the stands and they won anyway. So, each their own. Then this stat's quite interesting and they're probably going to wind you up again. There have been a total of 44 tied ODIs in the history of the game. Only three since they brought in the super over rule. And this final was the only one that's been tied after a super over, making it the closest ODI ever. Interestingly enough, there were 2 tied ODIs between 1986 and 1987, where the winner was decided by whoever lost the least amount of wickets. If that was applied in 2019, New Zealand would have won because we only lost 8 and they were bowled out. So, fuck you.
Yeah.
Anything else, Dad? Which one's your favourite stat?
I just love the Rashid bowled out without facing a ball. That's always a good stat to see.
Yeah. Twice actually, because Mark Wood happened to Mark Wood as well.
Yeah, it's just quite a good week stat. 0 off 0 out.
Yeah. Not so much of a stat, but something that popped out was Bairstow coming into the game off 3 consecutive hundreds against New Zealand. Pretty impressive and probably why I rate him so highly.
That's a great stat. Did not know that.
That could be the stat of the game.
That's a great stat. I love that. Didn't get 100. Yeah. Well, he only made 30 in this game, not to be Ricky Ponting. But...
Yeah. That's really creeped into my vocab, by the way.
Yeah. Well, he's out now. The Andy Mackay Award for, I forgot he played in this game. There's not many. Like, if you look at this lineup, it's like I could probably list them all pretty quickly. It's not like there's no rogue selections. I think the 2 ones are probably Henry Nicholls making 50 and Liam Plunkett probably being England's best bowler. I think for your guys that don't watch as much as I'd say we do, you probably wouldn't notice that.
No. I couldn't have given you Liam Plunkett in this game to win $1 million probably an hour ago before I looked at the scorecard. So it's got to be Plunkett playing, doesn't it? Like, if you think about the fast bowling talent England's had for the last week while, Plunkett doesn't spring to mind. But obviously he was there, played exceptionally, but
he was I looked at their games as well. Him and Wokes were both up at like 90 games already at that stage as well for England.
Yeah, Plunkett played a lot of cricket for England, but I couldn't have told you he played.
I'll tell you
He's quite good through the middle overs.
Yeah, I'll tell you what I sort of pivoted off to the to not played in the game but commentating. Fuck, it was weird hearing BMAC on comms to see where he is now.
Yeah, that's a good shout. That's a good shout. I reckon that could be he could take our award. Actually, we just sort of pivot to commentating. BMAC on comms.
I'll tell you what.
I don't mind that.
Pup Clark was on comms as well, and I wasn't happy with him.
There's no way he deserves that World Cup final. I'll give you the tip.
He wasn't. It wasn't good. It wasn't good.
Yeah. Okay. Right. The Woodworm Award for the best piece of kit of that year. So 2019, not that long ago. So there wasn't really like any nostalgia stuff that's not around now. But I just want to zero in on the actual playing kits. Like I'm a big fan of that Black Caps kit. Like it's clean,
simple,
white collars. England kit,
blue.
Yeah, the England kit. I guess that light blue is just going to give me nightmares. So I can't like it, but I can imagine if you're an England fan, like that kit's going to, that's going to sit well with you. Anything else, boys?
Nah, there's not a heap like stand. It's not a classical era of kit, is it? Have they started retroing cookies back then?
No, I'm not sure.
I don't think so. I thought Roy was wearing
recent.
I don't know if it was back then or a few years previous, but it was when New Balance was starting to fire a bit. His bat did look quite clean, I thought. Oh, Roy's. That New Balance had a couple of nice kits for a second there.
Yeah, good shout. Good shout.
His Slazingers was good as well, to be fair.
Yeah, fuck, Roy was good back then. Apex Mountain, boys. So that's basically, there's a few here. So I've got some nominations here, and then I'll hand over to you, Lugsy. Just 50 over cricket in general. Apex Mountain 50 over cricket. Doesn't feel like it's going to reach that height ever again. Jofra Archer, ? As in his Apex Mountain. That's up for debate. Jimmy Neesham, Apex Mountain. Felt like he was a big dog. Super over, leading the super over charge. Anything else there, Lugsy?
First, I'll just quickly comment on Jimmy Neesham because I had him there as well. I was thinking about his career. I feel like potentially I think maybe for a lot of people, didn't quite live up to the potential, so they don't maybe give him the credit for his career he deserves. Because I just thought he's had a lot of good games in that ODI jersey for us. He's actually played, quite a few good wee innings. Archer, I would say potentially that Ashes series.
It's those two.
Yeah, ODI finals I had absolutely. The other two I had sub fielders. We had James Vince taking 2 catches in 3 overs, and we had Salvi coming on as a sub and taking a ripper. Don't know if we'll get that again.
I don't know if it's Apex Mountain, but I like it. It's a good count. So 3 catches.
Yeah. The Apex Mountain subfield is the
2005.
Yeah,
2005 could be the Apex.
Screaming at the England coach as he walks off the field. He'll never get bigger for subfielders.
Yeah, that's. And my last one is Ian Smith on comms. I just thought I was just having listened to him the last this back two times now. He is just on from ball one. When Roy gets trapped LBW, as we've talked about, Smithy's on it straight. He's like, I cannot believe it, and he is just absolutely on that whole England batting innings. And I just think that if you're talking about something being a movie and you can just rewatch Barts, if you go from England batting, that game just goes up a level. It's insane, that England innings. So
it's a good shout.
Ian Smith for me carried that too.
That's sad, eh? That's actually sad when you think about it, because when you think about Apex, Smithy's probably not going to, I can't imagine him commentating on a moment like that ever again, just because he's sort of he doesn't really travel anymore. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And it's New Zealand, as sad as this to say, it's not easy to make a World Cup final. And I think, he nailed that moment. And that final moment, as heartbreaking as it is, he absolutely nailed it.
Yeah, credit to him to nail it in such a heartbreaking moment. Most of us are in bitzes, and he's absolutely nailing his job. So, right, should we finish off unanswerable questions? So my big one here is if New Zealand did win this World Cup, would we have won the World Test Championship? And yeah, no, we'll just leave it at that. Okay, that's my question for you guys. Anything else, boys?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. If Archer still played for the West Indies, would they have made this World Cup? You don't know.
Might have been
that could be
Netherlands.
one. Yeah, it might have been the Netherlands. Yeah, I mean, it's got to be if that guy had never been born that came up with the boundary countback rule. What happened?
We've got a man
Well,
dying for us to win a World Cup here.
Well, maybe if he hadn't found cricket rule making as his job, let's phrase it that way.
Yeah,
what would have happened?
We'll let him live, but
Yeah, maybe if he didn't follow his dream and become a lawmaker, this wouldn't happen. But do we think?
I wonder if he had a game that they lost on Wickets countback, but they scored heaps more boundaries, and he was like, "Fucking one day, I'm gonna get this changed." One day, this will fucking matter.
Oh shit. Do we think? Okay, I got a question for you. This is for you guys. If you could give up the World Test Championship to win that World Cup that day, would you do it?
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but lifting that ODI trophy is. I've got to see that before I cark it. You know, I've got to see us lift that ODI trophy.
Well, I think it was like we've always had that. We had that Champions League trophy win or Champions Trophy win, but like we'd never got a cup. And the One Day World Cup was a pinnacle in cricket for so long. So yeah, you'd have to take that.
Yeah,
I'll take the Test trophy over a T20, I think, but the ODI trophy I need. I simply need it.
Yeah, that's a tough one because it would be interesting because Ross Taylor said he would have retired if we won that World Cup. So would we have won that World Test Championship? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Any other closing thoughts before we sign off, lads? Got a minute 30.
Yeah, surely. Just give us a good game next time, please. The public.
It's actually it was funner to watch than it was to talk about. It was actually harder to talk about than when I watched it. I was like, "Oh, yeah, good game of cricket." When I talk about it, I'm like, "We should have won that," and here we are.
We're so sure we didn't.
This is why males don't talk about their feelings very well because this is what happens.
Gets harder.
Right, fellas. Thanks everyone for joining us down memory lane. Thanks to Lugsy and Jacko, and we'll catch you guys next week.